Research shows that more than 80% of AI projects fail, wasting billions of dollars in capital and resources. 82% of firms pressing ahead with investments in AI, despite 50% being unclear on its business impact or even how to implement it. Between 70 and 80% of Gen AI deployment efforts are failing to meet their desired ROI. These aren't just headlines. These are warning signs of a fundamental disconnect in how organizations approach AI. But why? Why are so many smart companies struggling to turn AI investments into real business value? In my work with business leaders, I've observed a concerning trend. Many approach AI implementation backwards, starting with solutions before understanding their problem. They adopt specific tools because competitors are using them or because they've read about them in industry publications, resulting in abandoned projects, wasted investment, and growing skepticism about AI's actual business value. I've discovered a better approach in the most unexpected of places, watching my 9-year-old son interact with ChatGPT for the first time. When I gave him access for a school project that was about starting a business, I expected him to ask straightforward questions about business plans or startup costs. Instead, his queries ranged from, how many stripes do zebras have, to what is heaven like? And eventually, how do I apply for an EIN? His unbounded exploration revealed something profound that most businesses miss entirely. He wasn't trying to make ChatGPT fit in predetermined boxes. He was discovering its possibilities without preconceptions. This insight transformed how we approach AI implementation at Enovara. The organizations achieving remarkable results with AI aren't focused on the standard playbook. They are taking a fundamentally different approach that starts with exploration, not prescription. Today, I'm going to share the framework that's generating these outcomes and how you can apply it no matter where you are in your AI journey. Hi, I'm Terrance Bryant, founder of Enovara. For the past decade, I've been guiding organizations through digital transformation, and in recent years, specifically through the AI revolution that's reshaping how we all work. What's fascinating and sometimes concerning is how many business leaders approach AI implementation with a tight grip of control. There's this understandable desire to prescribe solutions before fully understanding the problems. I get it. In a world full of constant technological change, certainty feels safe. But here's what I've learned, working with many organizations. The most powerful AI implementations begin when leaders are willing to loosen that grip, to create space for discovery before presumption. It requires a certain vulnerability, a willingness to admit that we don't have all the answers before we've asked the right questions. This isn't about abandoning leadership or strategic direction. It's about approaching AI with a diagnostic mindset instead of a prescriptive one. Think about it like medicine. You wouldn't want a doctor prescribing treatment before properly diagnosing your condition. Yet in business technology, we do this all the time. Let me share something personal with you. One afternoon, I introduced my 9-year-old son to ChatGPT, giving him a brief overview of what it could do. Then I did something that was intentionally uncomfortable for me. I stepped back and let go of control. A few hours later, I checked his conversation history, and what I found was extraordinary. His prompts revealed a curious mind exploring without boundaries. How many stripes do a zebra have? What's heaven like? How do I apply for an EIN? By releasing control and creating space for exploration, I witnessed something that could never have been prescribed. The natural learning process of my son's mind at work. The parallel for business is powerful. When we approach AI implementation with rigid prescriptions, we close off the very pathways to innovation that AI is meant to open. Today, we're going to focus on how to diagnose before we prescribe, and also how to prepare your organization for what AI truly is and can be. Specifically, we'll explore a practical framework for determining where to start with AI, how to evaluate which workflows actually benefit from AI enhancement, strategies for integrating AI without disrupting what already works, and how to measure whether your AI investments are truly adding value. This isn't about the latest AI trends or implementing what your competitors are doing. It's about developing a thoughtful approach that aligns with your unique business needs and creates space for discovery. By the end of our time together, you'll have a clear path forward that doesn't begin with prescriptive solutions, but with the right questions and framework for turning insights into meaningful action. So let's get started. So what happened after I let my son loose with ChatGPT? Well, as he explored everything from zebra stripes to existential questions, I began to notice something remarkable. His questions weren't random. They were connected by threads of curiosity that no adult design curriculum would ever capture. Each answer sparked new questions, taking him on a learning journey that was uniquely his own. This natural exploration reveals something profound about effective AI integration that applies directly to business. The value isn't in the technology itself, but how it amplifies human curiosity and removes barriers to discovery. Let me introduce a law firm that we worked with recently. When they first approached us, they had already spent a year working with other vendors trying to solve critical problems. Their attorneys were spending 2 to 3 hours daily at a bill rate of over $700 an hour, manually searching through case files and emails scattered across file servers. The challenge was particularly frustrating because it was essentially a lottery. Sometimes they found precedents that created 20x return on their time investment, but often they'd find nothing valuable at all. Previous vendors immediately jumped into prescribing AI solutions. Sophisticated document search engines, keyword extraction tools, and specialized legal AI platforms without truly understanding the problem. Yet a year later, they had nothing but expensive proof of concepts that didn't actually solve their challenge. When Enovara entered the picture, we took a fundamentally different approach. Instead of starting with AI solutions, we began by fully understanding their workflow. We mapped out exactly how attorneys were searching for information, what made certain precedents valuable, and where the real bottlenecks occurred. Our analysis determined that AI would be suitable, not because it was trendy, but because it directly addressed their specific challenges. This mirrors what eventually happened with my son. After watching his natural exploration, we didn't prescribe a rigid structure on how he should use AI. Instead, we built upon his curiosity, providing structure without stifling discovery. Exactly what businesses must do with AI. In approaching the law firm's challenges, we applied Enovara's time-tested 3 I's methodology: identify, ideate, and implement, that we've honed over more than a decade in software and systems development space. For AI implementation specifically, we refined this into a 4-step framework. First, inventory what you have already. Before buying new AI tools, understand your existing systems and processes, as we've discussed before in previous videos. For the law firm, we cataloged their existing document storage approach, scattered across many servers and emails, and recognized the fundamental limitations of their current search methods. Second, start with a specific pain point. Rather than trying to implement AI broadly, identify a focused challenge where AI could create clear value. For the law firm, we targeted the specific precedent search lottery that was consuming valuable attorney time with inconsistent returns. Third, adopt an evaluate, then expand approach. Begin with small implementations, measure results, and systematically expand based on success. Fourth, and finally, build a competency before tools. Develop your team's ability to work effectively with AI before investing heavily into specialized platforms. This framework has proven effective across many client engagements, and I've even applied the same principles in my own personal life. With my son's AI exploration, we naturally followed these steps, starting with the tools that we already had, focusing on specific sections of his business plan, expanding gradually into new applications, and building his skills in directing AI rather than consuming its outputs. If you want to learn more about our 3 I's methodology and how it can transform your approach to problem solving, leave a link in the description below to our blog where we dive deeper into each component. What makes this approach powerful isn't that it saves money or improves efficiency, though it does both of those things. The real power is that it preserves human judgment and expertise while enhancing their capabilities. For the law firm, attorneys remained the experts, but AI amplified their ability to find relevant precedents. For my son, his curiosity remained the driving force, but AI expanded his access to the knowledge. This is the essence of effective AI integration in 2025. Not replacing human capabilities, but enhancing them in ways that preserve what's uniquely valuable about human judgment, while removing barriers to discovery and performance. When organizations struggle with AI implementation, there's often a critical element missing from the conversation. It's not just about having the right technology, but who takes responsibility for making it work within your unique environment. This wasn't immediately obvious in my own experience either. When my son was exploring AI for his business project, I initially took a hands-off approach. Here's a great tool, son, have fun. His exploration was incredibly valuable, but when it came time to apply these insights to his business plan, we needed to add some structure to make the most of what he had learned. What we needed wasn't more technology, it was a clear framework to connect his discoveries to his specific goals. Someone needed to own the process of turning interesting insights into practical applications. Our law firm faced a similar challenge. They had powerful search capabilities, but no clear owner for ensuring the technology actually improved their workflow. Without someone championing how AI would integrate with their daily practice, they risked ending up with impressive technology that nobody actually used. This brings us to critical insight. Successful AI implementation requires dedicated champions who understand both the technology and the human side of your organization. In traditional software development, we've long understood that having dedicated product owners makes all the difference. The same principle applies to AI, but with an important twist. AI champions need to be translators, people who can explain the value of new tools in language that resonates with different stakeholders. When we worked with the law firm, we helped them identify attorneys from different practice areas who could speak to their colleagues in terms that mattered to them professionally. One senior attorney initially told us, "I don't trust AI to understand the nuances of my cases." This wasn't a technological concern. It was about professional identity and expertise. By having supportive colleagues demonstrate how AI could enhance rather than replace the legal judgment, resistance gradually transformed into enthusiasm. We've seen this pattern consistently across industries. Our partners at Asana have found that starting with a small group of early adopters who can demonstrate value to their peers creates much stronger adoption than a top-down mandate ever could. Building this network of champions creates a powerful feedback loop. As usage increases, the system gets better at delivering relevant results. As results improve, more people want to participate. This virtuous cycle turns what might have just been another underused tool into an essential part of how work gets done. The key question for your organization isn't just which AI tools to adopt, but who will champion their integration into your workflows? Who will help translate the value into different teams? Who will gather information and feedback and ensure that technology evolves to meet your specific needs? Before investing in any AI technology, first invest in building this human infrastructure. Identify your potential champions. Give them time to explore and understand the technology. Support them in becoming effective translators between technology capabilities and practical business applications. With this foundation in place, you're ready to tackle the common challenges that holds many organizations back. Paralysis at the starting line. Let's explore how we break through this barrier. Even with champions in place and a clear vision, many organizations get stuck at the starting line with AI. This paralysis typically shows up in two opposite ways. Some try to implement AI everywhere all at once, while others get caught in an endless research cycle without taking any action. This sounds familiar. If your team is constantly researching AI tools but never implementing them, or if you're trying to transform everything all at once, you're not alone. These are common patterns we see across industries. Breaking through this paralysis requires a structured approach with clear first steps. So let's explore how we can move forward effectively. Start with an AI readiness assessment. This isn't about evaluating technologies. It's about understanding your workflows and identifying where AI can create immediate value. For our law firm, we carefully mapped their document search process and recognized it was both causing significant pain, 2 to 3 hours daily at $700 an hour, and it had enough structure for AI to immediately approve it. When helping my son with his business plan project, we took the same approach. Looking at his broad exploration, we identified market analysis as the perfect starting point, a specific area where AI could help gather information while he focused on interpretation. Next, create a low-risk pilot environment. The law firm didn't immediately overhaul their entire research process. Instead, we started with 4 daily reports they were already creating, using them to build a foundation of relevant data. This focused approach gave us real-world feedback without disrupting critical client work. With my son, we similarly focused on completing just one section of his business plan first, allowing him to gain confidence with AI before expanding to more complex areas. Third, establish clear success criteria. Vague goals like improve efficiency aren't enough. The law firm needed specific targets to focus their effort. We proposed a 75% reduction in search time as an ambitious but achievable goal, with the understanding that the actual results might even be better. For my son's project, we defined success by completeness and quality of each business plan section rather than speed of completion. The clarity helped him understand what we were working towards. Finally, develop an implementation roadmap that extends beyond your first project. Show how initial success creates capabilities that can be applied to other areas. For the law firm, we outline how their document search improvements would help build capabilities that could later apply to contract analysis and client intake. This approach breaks through paralysis by making the path forward concrete and manageable. It acknowledges a fundamental truth about effective AI implementation. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. By beginning with focused, well-defined projects, while maintaining a vision of how to connect to larger possibilities, you can escape both the paralysis and trying to do everything all at once and the trap of that endless research with no action. One of the primary keys is to choose a starting point that balances three factors. It should address a significant pain point, have enough structure for AI to add immediate value, and build capabilities that you can expand in other areas. With this approach, organizations move from paralysis to progress, building momentum through early wins that create enthusiasm from broader implementations, rather than getting stuck contemplating endless possibilities or drowning in overly ambitious initiatives. They forge a clear path with tangible results. With our framework in place, let me show you what effective AI implementation looks like in practice. Our law firm's experience provides valuable insights that apply across many industries. Remember the starting point? Attorneys spending 2 to 3 hours daily at $700 an hour manually searching through scattered files and emails, often finding nothing. Despite the significant time investment, it was effectively a daily lottery. The breakthrough came when we fundamentally shifted their workflow paradigm. Instead of attorneys searching for information, we created a system that proactively brought relevant information to them. This transformed their process from searching to validating, a profound shift in how they interacted with information. Here's why the approach worked so well. First, it respected the attorney's expertise while eliminating tedious work. Attorneys remained the legal experts, but instead of digging through mountains of documents, they now focused on evaluating the relevancy of automatically delivered precedents. This preserved their professional judgment while enhancing their capabilities. Second, we built intelligence into the feedback loop. Each time an attorney validated or rejected a suggested precedent, the system learned and improved. We began at 70% accuracy rate and quickly reached over 90% as the system absorbed the attorney's feedback. This created a continuous improvement cycle where the technology became more valuable with every interaction. Third, we focused on outcomes that mattered to the business. The results exceeded our 75% time reduction target. Attorneys who previously spent 2 to 3 hours researching now spent just 30 to 45 minutes validating, with significantly higher success rates. More importantly, the firm began seeing technology not just as a cost-saving tool, but as a potential new revenue stream they could offer to clients. The most powerful impact came from watching how this implementation transformed the attorney's relationships with technology. As one partner told us, "I'm not doing less work, I'm doing different work that actually deserves my expertise." They were discovering connections between cases that couldn't have been apparent through manual searches alone. The system's ability to identify semantic relationships rather than just keyword matches revealed precedent patterns that created strategic advantages in their legal work. This transformation illustrates 4 key principles that apply to any industry. First, effective AI implementation shifts human activity from repetitive tasks to value judgment. Whether it's lawyers validating precedents or marketers evaluating creative concepts or even financial analysts accessing investment opportunities, the pattern is the same. Let AI handle information gathering and pattern recognition while humans focus on applying expertise. Second, build continuous learning loops. Systems that get smarter through use create accelerated returns on investment. Each interaction improves the system, creating a virtuous cycle of increasing value. Third, align with core business goals while opening new possibilities. The law firm initially sought efficiency, but discovered potentially new service offerings. The business implementations don't just optimize existing processes, they create new strategic options. Fourth, enhance rather than replacing human expertise. The attorneys weren't sidelined by technology, they were elevated to focus on what truly required their professional judgment. This principle addresses the fear many professionals have about AI. It's not about elimination, but augmentation. As you consider your own implementation, look for opportunities that make the same shifts. Where are your people spending time on information gathering that could be automated? How could you create feedback loops that make your system smarter through use? What new possibilities might emerge beyond simple efficiency gains? The most successful AI implementations don't just make existing processes faster, they fundamentally transform how work happens, freeing human expertise to focus on higher value activities. That's the difference between incremental improvement and true digital transformation. Even the most thoughtfully designed AI implementations face challenges as they mature. What's important isn't avoiding these challenges altogether, that's rarely possible, but recognizing them early and addressing them effectively. When our law firm systems had been operating for several months, we began noticing patterns that threaten its long-term success. These patterns reveal common challenges that affect AI implementations across industries. First, we observed uneven adoption patterns. While some attorneys embraced the system enthusiastically, others used it sporadically or relied on colleagues for help. This wasn't simply about technology comfort, it reflected different approaches to legal research and varying levels of trust in AI-generated results. The attorneys most hesitant to adopt were often specialists in their niche practice areas. This concern was legitimate. They worried that AI trained on general documents might miss critical nuances in their specialized fields. As one partner put it, the system hasn't spent 20 years focusing on environmental litigation like I have. Second, we encountered workflow integration friction. The system successfully shifted attorneys from searching to validating, but created new interruptions in their workday. The proactive alerts, while valuable, sometimes arrive during deep focus periods or client meetings, disrupting concentration rather than enhancing productivity. This reveals an important truth about AI implementation. Even when technology successfully reduces the time spent on tedious tasks, it can create new friction points. The challenge isn't just about making individual tasks more efficient, but ensuring that those efficiencies translate into a smooth overall workflow. Third, we face what we call the expertise calibration problem. Some attorneys found the system too aggressive in filtering content, potentially missing valuable precedents, while others found it too permissive, surfacing too many marginally relevant results. These differences reflected varying levels of risk tolerance and expertise. Finally, we encountered measurement challenges. While we could easily track time savings, measuring improved decision quality proved more difficult. Had attorneys developed stronger arguments? Were they winning more cases? These qualitative benefits were real, but harder to quantify. The good news is that each one of these challenges has specific remedies. For uneven adoption, we developed personalized learning pathways that respected different practice specialties. We gave specialists more control over the system parameters while offering new attorneys more guidance on validating techniques. For workflow integration friction, we created context-aware delivery options. Some attorneys chose scheduling batch deliveries at a specific time, while others preferred real-time alerts for certain cases. This personalization ensured that the system worked with rather than against individual work patterns. For the expertise calibration problem, we implemented adjustable confidence thresholds. Attorneys could tune the system, filtering parameters based on case importance, using more permissive settings for high-stakes matters while maintaining tighter filtering for routine cases. And finally, for measurement challenges, we developed multidimensional metrics that captured both efficiency gains and quality improvements, including novel precedent discovery rates and argument strength assessments. What's most instructive about these challenges is that they weren't technical problems with AI itself. The system was delivering accurate results and learning effectively. Rather, they were human integration challenges. How the technology fit into complex social and professional ecosystems of the legal practice. This highlights a crucial principle. In AI implementation, the technology is often the easiest part. The real challenge emerges from intersections between AI capabilities and human work patterns, expertise structures, and professional identities. As you implement AI in your organization, watch for these same patterns. Pay attention to adoption variations and what they reveal about different users' needs. Consider how new tools affect workflow continuity, not just task efficiency. Also, look for ways to calibrate systems to different levels of expertise and develop nuanced metrics that capture qualitative improvements alongside the efficiency gains. Remember that implementation challenges are not failures. They're opportunities to deepen the integration between technology and human expertise. Each challenge you address strengthens users' connections to the system and enhances its overall value. Most organizations approach AI measurement backwards. They start with what's easy to track rather than what actually matters. Let me share a different perspective that will help you see the impact of your implementation. The standard metrics, usage statistics, task completion rate, processing volume, are merely the starting point. They tell you if the technology is functioning, but not if it's transforming. For transformation, you need to measure the ripple effects. How is AI changing not what is getting done, but how people think about what's possible? These deeper effects rarely show up on the dashboards, but ultimately determine whether your investment creates lasting value. Consider what I call the depth shift. When AI handles routine aspects of work, people can go deeper rather than simply faster. The question isn't whether tasks are completed more quickly, but whether people are addressing more fundamental challenges. Are they asking better questions? Are they approaching problems from new angles? This depth shift often creates more value than pure efficiency gains. Then there's what happens at organizational boundaries. When information flows more freely between departments due to AI systems, historical silos begin breaking down. Teams that previously worked in isolation suddenly have access to insights from across organization. The boundary effect often generates unexpected value as specialists begin collaborating in new ways. Even more powerful is the acceleration of learning velocity. Traditional skills development follows predictive curves based on experience accumulated over time. AI can fundamentally alter these curves, enabling people to test more approaches, see more patterns, and develop expertise far more rapidly than was previously possible. This acceleration effect may be your most significant competitive advantage, not the AI itself, but how it speeds up your team's ability to learn and adapt to changing conditions. Perhaps most important is the distinction between optimization and possibility creation. There's a fundamental difference between using AI to do existing things better versus enabling new approaches that weren't previously feasible. Optimization metrics focus on improvements to established processes, faster, cheaper, more accurate. Possibility metrics track the emergence of entirely new capabilities, approaches, or business models. The more valuable implementations don't just improve what you're doing already, they enable you to do things you were never considering doing before. To measure these deeper impacts, look beyond traditional metrics to these key indicators. First, monitor changes in question quality. Are people asking more fundamental questions? Are they exploring issues they previously ignored because they seem too complex? Second, track boundary crossing collaboration. Are teams working together in new ways? Is information flowing more effectively between previously isolated departments? It's something to consider. Third, measure expertise development timelines. How quickly are people developing capabilities that previously took years to acquire? This is something we see businesses often miss. And fourth, count new possibilities identified. How many novel approaches or opportunities have emerged that weren't on your radar before implementation? Keeping this last key point in mind will really help your business grow. This approach to measurement doesn't just tell you if your AI implementation is technically successful. It reveals whether it's creating the conditions for ongoing transformation and growth. It shifts your focus from the technology itself to the human and organizational evolution it enables. The fundamental truth is that transformative AI implementation isn't just about doing the same things better. It's about doing better things. Your measurement approach should reflect this distinction. Rather than tracking efficiency improvements, measure how your thinking is evolving. Instead of monitoring adoption rates, look for evidence of work transformation. Don't just count on cost savings. Identify new value creation that wasn't possible before. This perspective of measurement doesn't just evaluate your current implementation. It guides how that implementation evolves to create ever-increasing value. As we wrap up, let's return to where we started. Remember those sobering headlines about AI implementation failures? The 80% of projects that don't deliver value? The organizations investing heavily without clear understanding of impact? These statistics reflect a fundamental misalignment in how most organizations approach AI, starting with solutions before understanding problems. But it doesn't have to be this way. Through our discussion, we've explored a different approach based on 5 key principles. First, effective AI integration begins with understanding workflows, not selecting tools. Success comes from deeply understanding how people actually work before implementing any technology, transforming activities like searching into validating, fundamentally changing how information flows. Second, build champions who can translate AI's value across your organization. This is crucial. Technical capability means nothing without human advocacy that connects technology to professional identity and purpose. Third, start small, but think big. Begin with focused implementations that address specific pain points while maintaining a vision of connected improvements. The right starting point balances clear pain, sufficient structure, and foundation building potential. Fourth, anticipate integration challenges proactively. Watch for uneven adoption, workflow friction, expertise collaboration issues, and measurement complexities, addressing them before they undermine your implementation. Fifth, measure what truly matters, not just efficiency metrics, but the deeper transformation we discussed. The depth shift is how people approach problems, the boundary effects between departments, accelerated learning velocity, and the creation of entirely new possibilities. What ties these principles together is a fundamental insight. AI implementation succeeds when it enhances what humans do best, while removing barriers to performance. The most powerful implementations don't just automate tasks, they elevate human contribution to focus on what truly matters. Here's what I encourage you to do next. Take 10 minutes today to identify one workflow in your organization that causes consistent friction. Apply our framework. Inventory what you already have. Start with a specific pain point. Adopt and evaluate, then expand approach. Build competency before investing heavily in new tools, and then measure what truly matters to your business. If you want to go deeper on these concepts, be sure to check the description below. You'll find links to our additional videos about orchestration and workflow that provide deeper insights into how work moves through your organization. These companion pieces will help you build a foundation for a successful AI implementation. Remember, AI is not a replacement for human judgment. It's a tool that, when thoughtfully integrated, can enhance capabilities, expand possibilities, and create a space for the uniquely human aspects of your business to flourish. Thank you for joining me today. Again, I'm Terrance Bryant, founder of Enovara, and I look forward to seeing how you transform your approach to AI implementation. If you found this valuable, please like and subscribe to stay updated on future content that will help you navigate the ever-evolving world of business technology. Until next time, focus on understanding how your people do work before rushing to implement new tools. That small shift in approach makes all the difference.